Parents often ask, how can I tell if my kid's getting good training? If you were speaking directly to them right now, what should they be looking for?
I would say, does your kid want to go back, right? That's step one. Yeah, we're all trying to be college football players and high school football players, but is the trainer a good person? Are they able to inspire your kid? You're hearing me repeat these things, but are they a good person? Because people come before process. When the kid experiences development, that's one of the funnest things. The body language and the energy that you start to walk throughout the field with changes. I'm getting better and I can feel it. So if you can see that in your child, if their energy has shifted and their competence and confidence has taken a step up, that's a huge deal.
Welcome to Athlete Country Club, the podcast built for parents, athletes, and competitors chasing the next level. I'm your host, Marcus McMarion, former Division I quarterback, now founder of Athlete Country Club. I started this show because, like many of you, I had to learn the recruiting process the hard way, traveling up and down the state, spending thousands trying to figure out what actually works. Each week, we break it down through two powerful segments. First, Coach Talk. This is where we sit down with college coaches, director of player personnel, recruiters to uncover exactly what they look for when offering scholarships. No fluff, just the truth from people making the decisions. Second, Athlete CEO. Here we go beyond the field, into habits, training, and mindset that build elite performance and long-term success. You'll hear from strength coaches, nutritionists, sports psychologists, and former athletes who've turned their grind into greatness in business, leadership, and life. Because being an athlete isn't just about playing the game, it's about mastering it and building your legacy beyond it. So whether you're a parent trying to navigate recruiting or an athlete ready to level up, you're in the right place. Welcome to Athlete Country Club, where we turn potential into performance and performance into purpose. What's good, everybody? Welcome to Athlete Country Club. I'm your host, Marcus McMarion. Super excited for today's guest, Coach Jose Mohler's journey, built through persistence, perspective, and purpose. And from his days slinging the football at North Dakota State to playing professionally overseas, where his love for training truly began. Jose's been about pushing past comfort zones and really diving into mastery. Now nearly a decade into running Left Coast Athletix, his quarterbacks include some of the most elite names in the game. Julian Sayin from Ohio State, Brett Rippon, he's in the NFL, and Drew Brown, who's out in the CFL doing his thing as well. But what separates Jose isn't just the results, it's how he blends science, repetition, and mindset and kind of unlocking potential from the inside out. So Coach Jose, welcome to Athlete Country Club podcast, brother.
Appreciate you having me, Marcus. Excited to be on Talk Ball.
Yeah, no doubt, brother. Yeah, and let's kind of start with that origin story. I mean, you're a North Dakota State guy. That's a program built on very similar to Fresno State. I mean, kind of tradition, discipline, and a relentless kind of standard of excellence. I mean, how did that environment shape the way you approach development today?
Oh yeah, it was something that was definitely mind altering when you get around other people that care about one another. The coaches did a great job connecting with the kids, and then the players as a team, how they connected with one another, and the amount of affection on and off the field that they had for one another. You're a part of a program where people care about people. They show up for one another and hold each other accountable in the name of development and what's standing in front of us, which is that game on Saturday. You see the results show up on the field. Guys are selfless. They celebrate with each other rather than a camera, and they carry a lot of pride for the city, for the colors that they wear, and for being on the field with their teammates. So just being a part of a culture like that was awesome. It taught me how valuable people are, and you pair a great process alongside being around people of value. It's a great remedy for finding success.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I mean, you kind of went from playing college football to competing overseas in Europe, and somewhere kind of along that journey, the passion for training was kind of born. I mean, do you remember, the exact moment where you realized helping others master the game kind of lit a fire more than playing it for yourself?
Yeah, we were always tasked with coaching the youth teams around the local areas of the cities we were in. So coaching the U16 team in Bergamo, Italy, and Lausanne, Switzerland, you're speaking languages that people aren't native to, right? I'm speaking English, they're speaking Italian, and you're having to communicate in different ways, right? These nonverbal ways. You're having to slow things down, really display things with your body, and whether it's on the board or out there on the field and walking through things. And then just creating an environment people enjoy. Like, I think that's what I was attracted to, was being the player / coach, or even when my early years training kids. I know my teammates, the kids I was training, very much enjoyed their time alongside being held accountable. So combining those two things, just my affection for people and my affection for football, translated to me being a coach that has developed myself and the community around me at an authentic, genuine rate.
Yeah, I've never thought about that. I mean, kind of talk about just that language barrier. I mean, I'm sure that fast-tracked your ability to communicate in different ways. And how do you think that's kind of helped you when you're communicating with an American athlete who does speak English, but you're able to kind of slow it down and really display and break it down for them?
Yeah, everything's about interpretation, right? I'm interpreting the information of mechanics or scheme in a certain perspective, and then as well as my counterpart, which is my teammates or my clients, they're going to interpret the information in their own unique way that's towards themselves. So figuring that out early and being able to slow things down, or try to learn their language, or try to use words that they're familiar with to incite a sense of excitement and development in them, has been something that has given me gratification. When you see somebody else get better and you see that kind of energy and that posture in their body change based upon them being uncomfortable in a moment, and then your guys' connection and communication leads them to feeling this euphoria of, I have this, I can do this, and I'm feeling more comfort in the name of this process. That's something I've been attracted to, and I chase all the time. So I think it's a very, very important part of the coaching realm, which is communication and getting the kids to interpret the information in the script that you have living in your head.
Yeah, and I think just that awareness that you have as a coach, I think that makes such a big difference in between a good and a great coach. Like the ability to say, hey, I was a visual learner, or hey, I actually need to physically do something. Kind of talk about that to her. Like, were you more of a visual learner as quarterback, and how has your kind of stance changed the way you coach and your perspective when you approach the game?
Yeah, early on, definitely a visual learner. Everybody is a visual learner, essentially from their inception of their life, right? The main way that you learn as a being is through watching others' motion, through watching your dad interact with your mother, through watching your older brother go and play youth football. And I watch and I learn. And then I had a deep affection for football from a very young age. My older brother played football, and that led me to going and scratching at the itch of the enthusiasm I had for football. So I went and watched the guys that were at the top of the game: the Steve Youngs, the Joe Montanas, the Elways, the Phillip Rivers, all these guys that were around my community of football and on TV, and they inspired me. And I'd take myself outside and just imitate. And then my quarterback coach was a college quarterback. He played at the Illinois, the Fighting Illini, and he could throw it and he could move. And watching him when I was 10, 11, 12 years old, it enamored me, and it made me understand that I have a very long way to go, and it inspired me to think in my head, I want to look like that. That's what good mechanics look like. That's what a high spin rate or a ball flying with healthy velocity looks like. Okay, I'm just like a little wolf trying to find my how. I can't quite do it, but I'm trying, and I'm learning through the other ones that have conquered theirs.
Yeah, no, and kind of in that process, once you started coaching the youth, and your first ever training was Aiden Sane, who went on to play Division I football and was a really good player in college, and then came his younger brother. You got Julian Sane, who become one of the most talked about quarterbacks in the nation. Julian was a 5-star prospect, ranked number 2 quarterback in the country by ESPN, and originally committed to Nick Saban in Alabama before transferring to Ohio State, where he's now leading, obviously the number 1 team in the country. When you think back to those early sessions before the stars, before the headlines, what stood out about Julian?
I think it was his and ours affection for football. Just going out there and being able to catch for his brother satiated his palate and made him very happy. He got to go out there and he was acting like he was juking people out after he'd be spot catching, and he'd be doing these one-handed catches, and you could tell how much his imagination was firing. The kid absolutely adores football, and he's carrying a very similar perspective today. Obviously, he's matured in his process and his commitment to being a leader, but he still has a childlike vibe. And being around those two guys at such a young age, Aiden was, I think, 12 years old. Julian was 9 years old or 10 years old. Somewhere, I think they're 3 years apart, but both of those kids and that enthusiasm, it lit a fire in me, because you can just see how much they adore it, and they have a somewhere where they're working towards in the future. Both of those kids had a very strong fire to go play college football, and when you see that, it's like, I want to change to allow you to become that person, and they showed up with kind of a very similar focus of like, this guy is going to give us information, hold us accountable, and still have a good time out here so we can develop and become who we want to become.
Yeah, and that's huge. And I think everyone kind of sees, the highlight tapes, the rankings, the recruiting hype, but you've seen the behind the scenes version, and like the work ethic, the mindset, and just the way these quarterbacks attack. You were talking about Brett Rippon earlier, who is a really good quarterback, as much as it pains me to say a Boise State quarterback was really good. He was a good player. Drew Brown, who was at Oklahoma State, who's now in the CFL, and he's kind of doing his thing. And Julian, and you have so many other quarterbacks that have came just across kind of your tutelage and kind of learned from you. Just like from your eyes as a coach, what makes those guys so special?
I think it's their seeking of clarity. When you have a deep affection for something, in our case, it's football. In our case, it's playing quarterback. You're going to seek new information based upon questions. And all three of those guys had developed their relationship to football in a very mature way, right? In the inception, I like playing football. I like throwing things. I like throwing touchdowns. All these guys are very vetted in their process and have done a great job elevating that process through seeking information from others, seeking experience from others, not being an all-knowing entity of, I have to carry this ego on my shoulders that I display. I know what I'm talking about. There's a unique balance that all those guys carry. They're all very internally confident, but externally they're very receptive to seeking out new information, and doing that at the age of 27 and mid-20s that Rip and Drew are, and then Julian is obviously a young kid, but just the way he communicates and the way he connects with the process of playing football and thinking football and coordinating football, as well as connecting with his teammates, is unique, because I think he is just continuing to build that ladder of how do I become who I truly want to become, which is fulfilling that childhood goal of playing in the NFL one day. So, he's nowhere close to that. Drew, and same thing with Brett. Like, those guys both have goals still, even though, they're further along in their process and their journey, but they still have that, goal they're working towards in the future. And when you have something that you are not currently, you'll ask questions in the name of that goal and change and become a different person by scratching that itch of enthusiasm that you carry for where you're working towards.
Yeah, and kind of talk about just like the power of influence in your village. I know we've had conversations just via text message before where just the amount of humility and lack of ego that the guys that are successful playing at a high level have, to where I remember having conversations with you saying that Brett's in the NFL actively, and he was training with the high schooler, Julian, at the time, but they're bouncing ideas off of each other and they're continuing to learn from each other. Kind of talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's an important energy. A a lot of people want to carry a kind of glass mansion of material around with them, which is, I represent this and I'm all knowing, or I have to represent myself in a fashion of I'm a 5-star, I'm competent, I have to depict that I know everything. Rip has every right to walk into a session and be like, I've played in the NFL. Julian, you haven't done anything. You're a high school quarterback. But he had the awareness and the humility to, study somebody else. And when you truly are enthusiastic about something, you have a large respect for when people are executing a process at a high level, whether that's scheme or that's mechanics or that's connecting with people. You can take these characteristics away and allow them to inspire you, especially when you can smell them, you can touch them, and you can see it, and they're that motion that you're seeing is right in front of you. So I think it says a lot about him, and I think it's very important nowadays that the kids are a part of a community that teaches them to be internally confident and to keep a score of how much that they are building a process, building a affection for spending time with their struggles, which is their inabilities to execute this, that, or whatever, rather than, anointing themselves based on results. And I think Julian, Rip, Drew, all these guys have gotten great results. They've all been successful at the college level, playing in the NFL or professional ranks, but still have that learning mentality of, I'm here to participate in the process just like everybody else is. I'm human. I make mistakes. I'm not perfect. I know this. And especially when you have a leader like that, it inspires other people that are a part of your team and community to be better, to take up that kind of same type of trait. And then you have a whole community of people that are aggressively pursuing the next version of themselves through whatever information they can get their hands on. Like you hear play callers, Andy Reid's talked about stealing scheme from high school ranks, right? And that's like, oh, well, NFL is better than high school, but he's allowing himself to be a lifelong learner through watching others and being inspired by other people's creativity.
Yeah, no, and you've built, the word communities came up a lot, and just when people look at Left Coast Athletix online, they see like the clean mechanics, elite level quarterbacks, and like the precision, but behind all that, like what's the philosophy that guides your training sessions?
I think it's enthusiasm and problem solving. My job is to overstimulate the kid. So I'm going to teach him, or I'm going to teach the quarterback how to conduct themselves in a still environment. So I'm going to teach you the processes of the stillness of the position. How do I stand? How do I feel my stance? What is my posture like? And then, through a very stationary realm, it's to teach you how to throw standing still, throw with your feet underneath you, throw with the target 5 yards apart. Then when we nurture that process and you walk away with an understanding of what good balance and what good patterning and rhythm feel like in a still environment, it's about challenging you, right? It's about, I'm a believer and there's fractional truths of stillness and chaos, right? Part of chaos is stillness and part of stillness is chaos. So if I can teach both sides of that spectrum and overstimulate you with momentum and overstimulate you with speed and certain things that quarterbacks environments represent, then the spot in the middle, or the kind of fight or flight of problem solving, your body will start to display mechanics to me, and it'll start to show what you prefer, your pattern that you prefer. So that's a huge thing in the way that we go about our business, and coupling that with this enjoyable moment, right? To where I'm not on this pedestal always talking to you, or I'm not, making it about me, or, belittling you. It's an hour where guys really enjoy themselves, and you couple the learning environment with the challenge and the communication, and then with I get back in the car and I'm excited to go back to my next experience with that community. I think it gets these kids talking about football and thinking about these problems that we come across when they're not around it, and when I can inspire others to think about their process or their enthusiasm when they're not currently holding hands with it on the football field. We're doing our job as a community, and it's kind of creating the cesspool of enthusiasm throughout our region, and those who ride with us.
Yeah, no, and I kind of want to from my own personal experience, kind of stop and spotlight and kind of applaud kind of the community you've created out there, because I've been a part of those sessions when I was training, when I was signed to Calgary. We were out there throwing, spinning the ball. That's kind of how we became friends and kind of developed our relationship. But I think the coolest thing that when I was out there, it's like, okay, I'm signed to professional contract in the CFL. I have lots of years of experience playing football, but then there might be an 8th grade kid who's out there who's doesn't have as much experience, but man, you could just see the level of enthusiasm, how excited he is to play, how excited he is to be throwing with us and being in the same group as us. And I thought what was really cool is you had kids like Julian and Quinn and different kids that were out there were stopping, taking time to not just be like, wow, this kid's so far behind us, we're not going to communicate with him and he's just not on our level. But the complete opposite. It's like, hey, if you're really digesting the information and you're actually have a certain level of mastery, you've seeped that kind of mindset into all your athletes and quarterbacks, that they're stopping and teaching all those kids and pulling them to the side. And obviously you're in the mix and you're doing it as well, but I thought that was really cool. And it kind of reminded me of a quote. I was looking for it on my phone. I found it, but it says, we only dream at the size of our exposure because what we're exposed to are the only things that we think are reachable. And I think just your community is just the essence of what that quote is. I mean, like, why is that incorporation of different skill levels important to your community?
Yeah, there's certain ways that the central nervous system is retaining information, and teaching and communicating and connecting with others is step one. It's the most important thing. Obviously, my ability to teach to them is a huge connection. That's where it all starts, right? They come to me a blank slate of, I just love the interaction of throwing the football and seeing the ball fly through the air. And I must connect with them and speak a language that they can retain the rational processes that I'm trying to lead them towards. And then to get them to take another step forward in their process of retaining information, it's to connect with other people, right? I am very passionate about coaching because I really believe in the kids, and the ones that show up consistently, I am emotionally connected to, right? I'm spiritually connected to them, and I want to see them succeed. That's a very, very valuable thing in my life, seeing these kids can be able to complete, the intention that they told me early on in their life, and be able to manifest that. So when they do the same thing to others, and they connect with somebody else that says, hey, I look up to you, I value you, and I respect you, they start to learn the importance of their words, and they start to learn the importance of their energy. And when you're connecting with people and providing a process, I think it's a very, very valuable recipe to creating this new level of conviction and competence towards the way you go about your business, because you spoke with tone, you spoke with connection, you had empathy for what they were dealing with and their flaws. So I think just teaching these kids the value of people and the value of connection, and is a huge deal. And I think it's showing up consistently when you see these kids move around the community.
Yeah, no, 100%. And kind of in that, I mean, obviously within the community, it's all about development and growing and getting 1% better on a daily basis. And I mean, like, what separates a kid who improves a little bit from the one who transforms?
Yeah, that's a great question. You're going to hear me say a consistent word, and it's enthusiasm. When you're thinking about it at, all turns of your day, it's so valuable because you're asking questions based upon an enthusiasm. That enthusiasm is telling you, I know that I don't know, and I'm so excited to find out, right? I want new information. I'm so ready to live in that realm of I don't know. I'm uncomfortable, right? And I remember the state of mind that I was living in certain times of my life with school. I would go into a perspective of a class, talk about like math, for instance, and I'd be like, I know that I don't know, and I'm really not excited to find out. Like, there's not much, excitement running through my body to figure out this information, right? But when it comes to, a genuine enthusiasm for something, you're so willing to live in that moment of, I'm unclear, right? So, and then it goes to so many different roots in their culture. The kids that truly accelerate their own development, because I don't have a magic wand, it's up to you. They're the ones that are seeking information in many different areas of the culture, right? Where did their favorite quarterback play college football? Who was his offensive coordinator when he played college football? What conference is that school in, right? Maybe, my dad or my quarterback coach has told me about his favorite quarterback back in the day. Now I'm going to go on YouTube and watch, highlights of John Elway or highlights of Steve Young, and I'm going to be inspired. And I continue to ask questions and lead myself towards another notch in this ladder, which is building a map, right? Through other people's experience, other people's movements, other people's adversities that they've had to go through, and just continuing to affirm your own perspective for the next step that you take. So especially with nowadays, we have a very nice luxury of having quarterback coaches and access to process everywhere. But with that becomes a state of mind where a lot of people think that, process is going to knock on their door. The next stage in development is going to knock on their door as long as my mom and dad, schedule me with my trainer. That's not it, right? That's not it whatsoever. If it's, if it is to be, it's up to me, and I have to lead myself in my everyday life towards things that feed my soul and make me happy, which is, seeking out football and, mimicking the throwing motion on air when I'm in line at Chipotle, or, standing in front of the TV, watching, my favorite quarterback, Julian Sayin, play and imitating his movements and going outside and acting like I'm him.
Yeah, no, and that plays such a big role in just development. And I know you've said before, reps don't make you better, the right reps do. Like, can you unpack what that means?
Yeah, it revolves back to the whole, okay, I'm very enthusiastic about being here, and I'm paying attention to the feedback loop, right? A lot of people go out and check the box of, I put it on my Snapchat, my Instagram story. If I'm out here, I did an hour worth of work, but what was your focus in your feedback loop during that hour? Were you aware of, did it feel good? Did it look good? Did it fly good? And then what was my rational process of being able to troubleshoot when it did not do those things? Was your interpretation of those rational processes appropriate? There's some people running around reality these days that don't have a process that backs up their intention to fix whatever they're looking to fix. Like I said, in the quarterback industry, the interpretation of this information is very, very important, and not everybody interprets it the right way, right? So you can build a sense of consistency with the wrong approach, right? So I think it's valuable that you're getting good information, you're able to go out and be able to sift through that feedback of feeling and problem solving in an appropriate manner. And that's what I truly value with our kids is I'm very opinionated when it comes to their process and how they should execute it. So, because I'm teaching them how to be their most important coach, right? Like, I love asking them that question, like, who is your most important coach in your life? And I want your response to be, it's me. Like, I'm my accountability leader. I'm the one that decides, if I should put, the drink the milk out of the carton, or pour it in a glass. So I think that's a huge deal.
Yeah, no, and kind of talk about that intentionality a bit, because I feel like that's been a reoccurring theme of guests talking about, to where it kind of reminded me as you were talking of that, the photo that kind of got leaked, I guess, of Tom Brady when he had on his wristband. It said like bend knees, toes, like light, like rotation. And it's like he's given himself triggers and intentionalities, and he's one of the best to ever do it. Kind of talk about that, to where the major difference, I'm sure you've seen it, and you guys have a remarkable staff at your guys' high school right now. So I'm sure you guys are implementing it, and those kids aren't even aware the level that they're getting exposed to, but just the intentionality difference of from college football to high school football, and how you guys are kind of implementing that and getting those kids exposed to it.
Yeah, you're teaching them how to create a language, right? Whether it's us as a coach on the football field coordinating an offense, or us teaching a lineman how to use technique, or a quarterback how to use technique. You're building a language of intention, right? So your words are going to create your interpretation and your visuals that you receive. So if we can create a precise packaging of intention, where you do not have to stumble over these long, drawn-out spells of content, then you will be able to think fast, and you will be able to feel fast. So I think that's huge, especially when it comes to football, because the kids need to be led towards a very, very kind of guided process with their eyes, their feet, their start stance, right? And when it comes to throwing, or when it comes to playing many positions on the field, right? You're often talking about your stance. You're often talking about these minute intentions that if you start them appropriately, what ensues behind them is very likely to be carried out with good technique. It's like the whole process with long division. If I have the first step of long division is wrong, right, and my intention with that process is wrong, then what follows behind it is not going to really stand a chance. So, carrying intentions for those day one fundamentals is a huge thing, and it's awesome to see, guys at the top of our game, the greatest of all time, sharing his process with us, and us being able to see that, and it's going to inspire kids to be able to kind of have respect for these everyday drills, or these everyday things that they go out in the field and execute.
Yeah, no, and you kind of mentioned a little earlier, there's almost, in a sense, an oversaturation of position-specific training that's kind of going on, and it's become a lot, to where I think a lot of parents almost feel their kids falling behind if they don't have a position-specific trainer to kind of keep up with everyone. And parents often ask, like, how can I tell if my kid's getting good training? Like, if you were speaking directly to them right now, what should they be looking for?
I would say, does your kid want to go back? Right? That's step one. Like, does your kid get back in the car and feel like they were aggressively judged? Right? And I'm even, I've done that before, where I've like made kids be like, dang, like I really don't want to go back, because like it seemed like that guy really didn't mess with me. Right? But like, are they inspired? It's step one. Like with training, yeah, we're all trying to be college football players and high school football players, but is the trainer a good person, right? Are they able to inspire your kid with the way that they move, right? The way that they treat other people, or are they, clout driven, or, I'm going to grind your kid down and be mentally chuff driven. Everybody's different. Everybody's prototype is different. So like I said, you're hearing me repeat these things, but are they a good person, right? Because people come before process. And then when you interact with your child, if you have a good relationship with your child and they're willing to talk to you, can they teach you information? Can they teach you what they're learning? Are they convicted? Do they believe? I really don't. I mean, there's so many processes out there, who's to say that mine's better than theirs? But I believe in mine. Our kids believe in theirs, And as long as the kid believes in it, and then it's translating to, hey, I feel like I'm getting better, because you can see an elation of, when the kid experiences development. That's one of the funnest things, is going from, I've only been able to hit the target 50% of the time to I'm hitting the target 85% of the time. And the charisma and the body language and the energy that you start to walk throughout the field with changes. You have a different aura to you, right? And you have this kind of, I'm getting better and I can feel it, right? And I'm getting excited because of it, and I'll put the ball wherever I want. So if you can see that in your child, of their energy has shifted, and their competence and confidence has taken a step up, that's a huge deal. And I guess just somebody that, because there's so many kids that you got a good kid that is being sought after by every person. There's a lot of trainers that will just kind of give you a pass and be like, well, I just want to train your kid because I want to attach my name to the kid, and I want to align with prestige to up my notoriety. And a lot of parents will take that discount and they'll run with it because their kid is a sought after entity in the community. So that is dangerous, because you're going to get a mentor that is telling your kid you can do no wrong, or really not developing them and keeping them on the path of we're here to change. We're here to change every day, and ask questions upon our needs and our next step.
Yeah, no, and I think that's huge. And I think something that I've always, respected about you and your community and what you got going on is your continual development of trying to get better yourself. And I always think it's cool when you see the quarterback coach out there slinging it. It's like, hey, I'm going to show you how to do it. It's like, I love that, because it's almost like, hey, I'm not going to go to a trainer who's 400 pounds and he can't do it, and he's telling me to get lower my deep squats. Like, come on, dude, you do it, So I've always respected that about you a ton. And I know even for me, like, I pulled this out to where this is a book you recommended I read. Yes. I read it and it was amazing. It's just so many different perspectives in there. And even just like one of the quotes that I want you to kind of touch on a bit, to where from the talent code is skills built by myelin, the insulation that wraps neural circuits and makes signals move faster and smoother. The more you fire the circuit, the more myelin you earn. And that quote from the talent code, kind of perfectly describes, what you do daily. Kind of creating deep practice environments. And how do you see that concept of myelin and neurological kind of repetition showing up in quarterback development?
Yeah, well, it showed up for me. You mentioned it just recently of I'm out there throwing every single day. My consistent process is to interact with the kid through information of communication and information through visuals. So I am learning about mechanics through me firing my circuits and me firing the process and the feedback loop over and over and over again. And then doing it with an enthusiastic state of mind, where I'm very stimulated by seeing the ball go where I want it to go. I'm very stimulated by feeling the ball come off my fingers and spin with an aggressive spin rate. These types of things fill my bucket. And then also on the other side of the spectrum, they agitate me when they do not happen, right? So that's another form of infection of enthusiasm, right? So doing that consistently, and then getting into a state of mind with another kid that's participating with you, they allow you to drive into this realm of we are both very present in this moment, and we're practicing and nurturing these problems that we're coming across with enthusiasm. So when you do those things and you embrace problems with enthusiasm, and you challenge yourself and consistently show up with a process or with a movement, over time, if you're in the right state of mind, you will see a accelerated form of development, right? Especially when it's I'm somebody that started this process when I was 6 years old, right? I fell in love with football. I fell in love with the NFL and college football. I fell in love with my brother and watching him play football. That's when this whole process started. And I've continued it with a childlike affection for my attachment to going out in the world and doing these things. And it's led me towards having a unique perspective towards the movement, towards the game, towards people, because these are the main questions that I've grown up asking, right? I followed the script of 90s mechanics. I believed in them. I trusted them. Then I came out the other side and I started to look at the world through my own lens of I'm going to go out there and I'm going to interact with movement myself, and then I'm going to look at other people and study other people and just allow it to kind of formulate the way I perceive this whole thing. And yeah, that's huge, because if I can give kids the right processes and get them to fire their systems and myelinate their nervous system and create that tissue in their body where they can repeat good mechanics and good movement and good solutions, then I'm doing my job, right? Because one, they believe in it. They are connected with me. They trust, respect me, right? And it's vice versa. Two, they're seeing the ball fly very, very well. So that visual is creating an emotional connection of I have a very, very good relationship to the throw. And then three, like, you have these rational processes of when things do go wrong, right? We're so vetted and consistent with this of understanding how to fix things that they can troubleshoot their own problems. And I think that's been something that I've developed myself very authentically on. It wasn't just taking what was said by the person at the top of our industry and taking it as dogma of it's right. They said it. If they said it, it's right. It's more of going out there and figuring these things out for yourself through firing your system and interacting with movements.
Yeah, no, and you mentioned, you've been on this quarterback journey, since you were 6 years old, kind of just your infatuation with watching the ball spin. How am I getting out? What do my mechanics look like? And I think a lot of athletes struggle because they want to get it right immediately. How do you teach patience through repetition and the understanding that mastery is messy?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's my connection with them in the early stages is I have to continue to mentor you and be your psychologist when it comes to results don't represent you. It's this ignition for seeing the ball fly. You showed up to me because you have an affection for throwing, right? You like seeing things fly through the air and you being able to, put your psychic energy towards the ball is going to go there. Watch, right? That is a superpower. Like when I can take my intention that's living in my head and say the ball is going to go to his right shoulder, 5 inches outside of his shoulder, and then I do it, there's a crazy connection to that. And there's part of that living in a kid, right? And obviously when you're very connected to something, you start to become a little bit distraught and anxious when things don't go right. So teaching them the perspective of, ways to embrace their mirror and ways to understand that results aren't going to represent you. It's your affection for this process. And the more that you can have a perspective of, I am not digesting a perspective of judgment, of more affection for the interaction, it's going to be something that is a valuable rep in your process, because those reps start so early, right? And if you're repping judgment of lack of results rather than judgment about, okay, how can I take this and change it? Or I just am enjoying these moments of like, give me that ball back. The next one's going to be a completion. Give me that ball back. Okay, what you just said made a lot of sense. Let me try that. Like, rather than, oh my God, like I threw a go ball and it's squawking and it's squealing and it's a spiral and my teammates or my peers are going to judge me. That's you creating a bad relationship with the throw, right? And I remember like we would go out before our games at NDSU and we'd throw go balls and big post rep before we went back in the locker room. And I remember the perspective I would carry towards that relationship with that throw. And I would be like, I really hope I throw a spiral today. I really hope this isn't like one of those throws where people look at you and are just like, whoa, that wasn't good. Because I was very attached to what other people thought about me, right? So I think it's very important for me to teach you as a kid that, your peers and your community matters, but ultimately it's your own perspective that you rock with inside, right? Because the words that you are saying to yourself on the inside comes to the execution that's going to live on the outside, right? And if you're negative and you carry a negative perspective and you're grabbing the negative handlebar, there's going to be negative results that come out. But if you are inspired and with faith and belief, and you are truly carrying resonance for your experience, then your perspective is going to influence your execution, which is a huge deal because a lot of us have gotten behind center as a quarterback and had a negative perspective and energy running through our body. And that often ends up with a tremble in your process and in your game. And, the quarterback that hesitates is lost. So I think it's a huge deal. Like I said, you're teaching it from a young age at the beginning. As soon as we start failing, it's a rep.
Yeah, no, and I think it's important to where, just having enthusiasm and affection and a passion for the game and just that childlike kind of hunger and appreciation to be at practice and just kind of the whole I get to be at practice versus I have to be at practice and kind of dreading it. Like, man, I have an opportunity to kind of be at practice today and I'm so excited to be out there, spin the ball, be able-bodied, and just have some fun playing a child's game. But it's almost inevitable. The higher you move up, as you know, the more job-oriented it gets, where it's like, okay, this has become my job now. I have to perform. This is maybe what pays my bills. This is how I take care of my family. Or even at a young athlete, I feel like that kind of job-like mentality almost gets forced upon them a little too early. When a young athlete hits a wall, whether it's burnout, pressure, self-doubt, what's your approach to kind of helping them hit that reset button?
Yeah, well, I think you kind of just said it of when you get to the highest levels, right, it's very easy to lose that childlike affection because everybody in the building is carrying this urgency for results, right? And it's like, if we don't get the results that we want, we're going to wear it. And it's this, the building is going to be unenjoyable to walk around. You've been in a building, I've been in a building where the team is losing and people are talking negatively about each other. People are deflecting. It's not my fault, it's their fault. And that type of thing happens all the time at the youth level. You get a community of people, you get a set of parents, you get a youth football coach, you get a trainer that is results driven because a lot of people do not have the patience to sift through, these moments of being able to pay attention and reflect on their process and understand that the adversity that we're facing is essential to changing. So when you have a kind of a party of intensity, the kid and the players are participating in that environment. People become essentially part of their habitat. And if the habitat is, drugged with expectation and, lack of process behind that expectation, it's dangerous. And, kids and people are going to get burnt out to where they do not have that same affection. It's like, like you show up into the building, you're like, why do I feel like I don't want to be here? Right. And there's many things that can go into that. But like I said, if we can enjoy our time with our people and feel the connection of people, and I want to show up for them and I want to protect them and they want to do the same for me. Like, I'm very protective of our kids. Right. And I want to be there for them. Right. And if we fail in a game, like we just had a game where we lost by 1 point and the boys played absolutely phenomenal. And we scored every single time we got the ball. We got into 3 third downs. We never punted. And then we went for 2 at the end of the game with 45 seconds left. And I called a play that didn't give them a chance. Right. And I feel so responsible and I want to protect them and let them know, hey, you guys did everything you guys could. I'm so eager to figure out how to take the blame for that because it was my fault of like, I didn't give them a chance. You guys executed the scheme and there wasn't a chance to succeed, right? I know there's other people living on the other side of the sword that wouldn't do that, right? And wouldn't take that approach of protecting their teammates. And the same thing goes for quarterbacks. You see quarterbacks walk off the field, not my fault. You need to break it across that guy's face more, right? Like, I'm not, and that interaction in front of other teammates, that's a culture builder. And when you're not protecting other people and not showing up for other people to where it's like, I'm here for you, we're going to share this process, we're going to share this failure together, then you can burn out very, very easily because you don't have a connection to anybody. You don't feel like anybody really respects or is there for you, right? It's more of they're blaming on you. And when you have a community, parents to kid, coach to kid, or player to player, player to coach, these things become really dangerous. So it's a tightrope to walk on because you got to coach process. Like, you have to coach like, hey, if you're not doing the right thing, I'm going to tell you and I'm going to critique you. And in what manner are you going to do that? Are you going to be on one side of the blade to where you're overly aggressive all the time? Or are you going to be super, super kind and, everybody loves you and you're everybody's friend? There's really no formula for that. It's just kind of understanding people.
Yeah, no, and burnout, I mean, it's a very real thing. I even remember, like, specifically just like a real world example for me. I remember being at Oregon State, and we both know playing at the collegiate level or even high level high school, how much time, energy, and effort is put into, fingers crossed, hopefully I could be kind of good after you put in just hours and hours and hours of time to hopefully have a little success. And I remember just doing at Oregon State where you're putting all this time in, watching the film, doing the treatment, doing the recovery, and I wasn't able to kind of even reap the benefits because I wasn't starting at this particular time, and I was kind of in a tough spot. And I just remember my quick little mental reset for me is on Saturday mornings. This is in the summer. They used to have the youth football games. I used to just go out there, and I just got so much joy from watching the little kids run out there like little bobbleheads. The helmets are bigger than them. It's like, man, these kids are just having so much fun playing the game. And it's like, I'm playing the exact same game they're playing. And I remember I used to be so excited to tell my mom to fill up my gallon of water so I could go throw my pads on and go practice. And it's like, man, just kind of take a moment to step back and like appreciate the game that you're playing, that most people, I mean, only 7% play at any level in college. I mean, that's junior college to Division I. So, I mean, you're already in a small percentage. 93% of other people are already in the workforce, already going to college, and you're still playing a kid's game. So I think that was always a real life kind of reset for me to kind of get back to normal.
Yeah, having residence for the reason you started is a huge deal. It's easy to get caught up in just the expectation of winning and stuff. So, it's a beautiful thing. Way more kids play the sport than adults too. So it's a child's game.
Yeah, no, for sure. And a few more questions and we'll wrap up. But I mean, like, when you look at your career now, I mean, like, what does success look like for you beyond the next D1 quarterback or the next NFL quarterback?
I think it's just continuing to get people to carry a perspective of, they feel the connection of I am showing up for them. Feeling wanted is the main currency, is when the process that we carry in this kind of mentorship, and then the connection of hanging out or being coached by Coach Jose makes me believe in myself more. That's success, because that's when we get the results. We get results when, a kid starts to move around their childlike and into their adolescence and into being a young adult, and they believe the whole time. They believe in the struggle. They believe in pushing the boulder up a hill, and the connection that we share together in the clients that I train. That's success. I really don't care if they go and play at Ohio State or if they play at Augustana, but I want them to truly embrace this whole process of change and showing up for themselves, showing up for the little kid that's living inside of them, because these kids quickly become adults. And then, the words and the connection that we share drives their faith stronger and bigger. So, the more I can do that, I think in turn will allow the kids to go and execute on their wildest dreams, because that's something that I continue to try to get the kids to understand is, your goal of playing college football is very, very possible. And if you think it's impossible, you're going to limit yourself. If you think, you're not going to make it, or you think, it's just not achievable, it's not going to happen. So seeing, our kids watch other kids that have done it warms my heart. Like it really, really makes me happy, because I got kids walking around this community that are 8 years old that are so excited to watch, Julian Saint on TV on Saturdays. And in turn, his faith that was nourished from a very young age becomes their faith, because they know that he came from the same soil that they come from. And if he can do it, they can do it. So that's it fires me up, because there's going to be so many good people that come from this land.
Yeah, no, and you've been doing this for, almost a decade now. How has your definition of coaching evolved since starting Left Coast Athletix, 9 years ago?
Yeah, I think it's evolved to kind of a very primal sense of development, right? I've followed a script of biomechanics and kind of certain processes that I believed in because I was passed to them. Now I'm a believer that these mechanics have been living inside of your body since you were born, right? That's what the human is born to do: is throw, run, jump, climb. Your body is created to solve the problems of hunger, and the body was made to hunt. The body was made to throw. And now throwing a football is a way to stimulate the body, is a way to get the body to interact. And the more that I've learned about challenging the body and overstimulating the nervous system through problem, it's taught me about mechanics, and it's taken away my this is the hips need to fire at this time, and the body needs to be here. Those things are important, and there is truth to some of the things that are being said out there. But when you overstimulate the body, mechanics will be shown to you. And obviously, not everybody is going to be an expert at thrower. Not everybody is a hunter-gatherer in the community of whatever village you're living in. So there are certain chosen ones that are better than others, and with those ones, they will definitely lead you towards what high quality movement looks like, right? A guy like Aaron Rodgers, you see how he's embraced momentum. He's embraced a variety of foot strides of, the negative stride, the long stride, the bucket step stride, right? Throwing with 2 feet out of the ground, throwing on the run, leaning his body. He's embraced these problems that he encounters in his habitat of the football field very consistently, without being manipulated by a mechanical, you got to do this. You can't keep you got to keep your front arm tight. He's a very stridey guy with his off arm, so he's intuitive with his feedback loop, and he trusts that feedback loop. That's a very primal sense of development, of understanding your body, right? And understanding how it feels, how it looks, how it flies. So that's how I've changed aggressively, because previously I was just running around saying things in an enthusiastic manner, but they were a script that was given to me by somebody else, right? And then over time, exercising that script, I've developed an opinion for the way mechanics should be executed, or the game should be executed, and it's became a little bit more of a natural kind of, process of throwing a football.
Yeah, no, 100%. And just kind of in closing, the final question, what's the one message you want every parent and athlete listening to take away from this conversation?
If you got a kid that loves football, it's about protecting that signal of affection and enthusiasm. You know, the parents, you guys create the environment, how you treat one another, how you treat other parents, how you treat, your spouse, your husband, how he treats his wife, how you treat your other kids. Everything is being watched. Everything is being studied. And if you're creating a poor environment for your kid to live in, and you are deflecting and you are creating it's not my child's fault, it's their fault, or you are riding through life with a victim mentality, these things are dangerous. So I think it's very, very important for, parents to really protect their kids' enthusiasm, not in a sense of, they have to be successful all the time, but just protecting, being able to explain the perspective of the process of failing, or just, deferring, saying, hey, I don't know what you're going through. I have never played quarterback, and I am here to, be here for you and not judge you or guide you towards treating people with just the right moral compass, and teaching them how to be a good human, and then letting other people lead their process. I think, parents have to understand they're the most important aspect of a child's habitat. Everything in life matters from the beginning of time. Every image they see, every word they're spoken, every feeling they're taught, and every perspective that they carry is going to translate to who they go out there on the football field as, or who they're going to go away to college as. So I think, if parents are continuing to learn and take a very accountable role in that aspect of creating a habitat, I think, they're going to give their kid a chance to become a good person that's backed with a good process.
Yeah, no, I think it's extremely important. I mean, just for parents to understand, like, let your kid, fail forward, carry enthusiasm, and just kind of create that village. And it's just so important, man. I can't thank you enough for sharing everything you sent. This is definitely one that I'm going to have to even go back and listen to, because there's so much stuff that was in here that we kind of jam-packed in here. But, Coach Jose Mohler, a coach who doesn't just train quarterbacks, but helps, young athletes think, feel, and believe like champions, long before they even step on the field. If you're a parent or athlete who wants to see what the next level of development really looks like, check out at Left Coast Athletix, and it's IX at the end of athletics on Instagram. And Coach, I appreciate you taking some time, brother.
Always good to connect. I appreciate it, man.
Yep. Appreciate you guys tuning in, Athlete Country Club. Till next time.